1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to episode 9 of the Immigrants and Exiles podcast, a conversation recorded at the Beachcomber Cafe in St Kilda between me, Moreno, and my friend Walter. In this episode, Walter meets Franco Cozzo at the dentist. Moreno asks whether Franco Cozzo ate spaghetti. Walter has an argument with Bob Maguire, and Moreno prefers Ted Whitten to Franco Cozzo. Walter, did Franco Cozzo eat spaghetti?
Oh,
I
knew
what do you reckon?
I knew this question would be on the exam.
Yeah.
And I'm not fully prepared for it.
Yes.
I sort of met Franco Cozzo once at the dentist.
Okay. That's a good place to meet.
Yes, and I think he must have been there with his daughter because there was this young woman sitting, and he was in an immaculate grey suit with a tie and a vest, and he just kept walking up and down with a big smile on his face.
In the waiting room?
In the waiting room, yes, sorry. And he kept looking at me as if he expected me to say something.
Yeah.
And I felt tempted
Well,
to
you
say,
looked like a migrant, so he probably thought, he's one of us.
damn, yes, maybe.
Yeah.
And I felt, I wish I had my autograph book here. I get his autograph. And then I thought, resentfully, that word's coming up a bit today, I thought resentfully, why the hell? Why the hell would I ask him for his autograph just because he's on TV?
Yeah.
So I just kept reading my book and ignoring him.
You know, his so-called Italian persona, that stereotype, used to annoy the hell out of me.
Well,
You know, it annoyed the hell out of me, Walter.
Yes.
People said, when he died, we want his legacy to forever, I'm quoting here, forever be remembered as he was a true icon to multiple people around the world. He wasn't an icon to me, okay? The ads, and this I'm quoting again, came to represent Melbourne's burgeoning multicultural identity and represent Melbourne's burgeoning multicultural identity. Represent? Did he represent you? Walter,
No.
did he represent your mother and father?
Un oggetto strano. He looked like a quaint figure, an oddity to me.
Yep. And, you know, Les Twentyman also said, Les Twentyman is this youth worker in the western suburbs of Melbourne, has been for decades, said that Cozzo's proud immigrant identity helped other migrants feel at home. Did he really, and I thought about this, did he really help my mother and father feel at home in Australia? Did he help your mother and father feel at home? Walter, any idea?
No, well, I never heard his name mentioned in my household, and whenever I occasionally saw him on TV, I thought, I don't understand this man, or he's just a bit of a pompous idiot trying to make money, and he probably is making money by spending a lot of money on late night TV, speaking a bit of sort of bad Greek, and being a businessman or a bazaar keeper. You know? He's got a stall at a market, which is the TV.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he reminded me of a clown.
A clown, yeah.
Was he the ultimate immigrant success story, Walter? This man who speaks broken English and makes noises, and, you know, this is the stereotype, right? Was he your father? Was he like a role model for you?
No.
Was he like a father?
A father? No. Nothing to do with me.
Being some kind of role model?
No, I don't think that anybody that I knew in the Italian community then or subsequently would have thought of him as an icon.
No.
I don't even know anybody who bought furniture from him.
Yeah.
You know, I think of somebody like Bob Maguire, the Catholic priest in South Melbourne, who was an icon, someone who that you could revere because he represented some kind of a salvation for human beings, in the sense that you could look up to him for the things that he did. Bob Maguire worked with homeless kids, with drug addicts. I knew Bob very well from where I studied music in South Melbourne, and I sang for him as well. And they made a film of him called, rather sort of contentiously, In Bob We Trust.
Yes.
But it was all true about him. He was a real character. That's not the sort of person that Franco Cozzo was.
Yeah.
Bob Maguire, an Irishman, an ex-army chaplain, a priest sort of, in some ways, put on the margins of the religious elite by successive archbishops in Melbourne, was an icon for me. You know, I even had an argument once with him. But then he'd still say, "Walter, how you going, mate?" And he'd say to somebody, "This is Walter, he sings like a bloody angel in church," you know.
Les Twentyman also compares Franco Cozzo to Ted Whitten. Now, I feel more of an affinity
with Ted
Whitten.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this Aussie bloke, beer-swilling footballer, tough man,
Yep.
you know,
Yes.
genuine, open-hearted person than I do with Franco Cozzo. You know.
No, I understand. Yep.
And look, I thought maybe I'll just carry on this same, in this same vein, about these stereotypes. Keeping in mind, you've always got to ask yourself whether these people eat spaghetti or not. You know, I'm just quoting a little bit from my manuscript now. You can open a furniture store in the western suburbs of Melbourne and make the English laugh. You can tell stories about Italians who operate milk bars and cafes. You can organise salame making and tomato bottling festivals, which are depictions of Italian life and culture. Are they really? Salame making and tomato bottling. Okay. You can open a restaurant and lay a floral carpet, cover the tables with lace, then plastic, topped with heavy cut glass goblets. You can decorate all this with striped brocade wallpaper, rococo statues and vases, landscape and portrait artwork from the 1970s. A wooden display cabinet filled with random bric-a-brac, walls hung with poorly executed family photos in wonky frames, brown moulded plastic taps in the bathrooms. You can gesticulate. By the way, that last bit was from The Age in July 2023. It's about a restaurant.
Yep.
Run by some guys called Sushi Mango. You can gesticulate, shrug your shoulders, carry a dagger, make sauces from minced meat and tomatoes. Tomatoes again. Now, you know, you've heard of the film They're a Weird Mob?
Yes.
Now, that was based on a book about a funny Italian who brings his funny customs to the colony and is ignorant of appropriate English behaviour. The author, Nino Culotta, is the pen name of John O'Grady,
that's right.
the descendant of Irish settlers. This is just the way it is. Then you had the English newspapers. In 1952, there was an uprising at the Migrant Reception Centre in Bonegilla. I think I've mentioned this already. The front pages of the newspapers had headlines along the lines of Spaghetti Riot. Spaghetti is the word that the English always use when they don't know what to say about Italians. They just throw the word spaghetti in there, everybody understands.
Spaghetti eaters.
And the one thing people don't understand is that Italy is made up of about 20 regions called Basilicata, Calabria, Campania, Emilia-Romagna, Friuli Venezia Giulia, Lazio, Liguria, Lombardia, Marche, Molise, Piemonte, Puglia, Sardegna, Sicilia, Toscana, Trentino Alto Adige, Umbria, Valle d'Aosta and Veneto. Okay?
Yes, I was standing up and saluting them.
There you go. Now, the fact is, the English have always felt that the best Italians were the Dutch, the Germans, Scandinavians of any kind, Latvians, Lithuanians, Estonians, and then themselves, the English, the Irish, the Scottish, the Welsh, etc. And whenever I'm asked what part of Italy I'm from, you know, I say Tuscany. And the person asking the question smiles and says, "Oh, the north." And, you know, that explains why I'm not short and dark, okay?
Yes.
Because I'm from the north. Now, to end this little tirade of mine, I had to realise that my mother and father were people that the English in the colony liked to call the Chinese of Europe. I had to accept that their temperament was essentially childish and feminine and excessively emotional.
Oh, feminine is good.
The English called my mother and father and all our friends dirty dago pests, as well as a greasy flood of Mediterranean scum that seeks to defile and debase Australia. Now, Italian POWs working in the colony on private farms were described as ill-advised enough to drink wine in a public space, not beer, mind you. They were described as bloodthirsty fighters, mentally childlike, and sly and objectionable if badly handled.
What historical period are we looking at when this was being
I'll let you work it out.
Said?
I'll let you work it out, Walter. I'll let you work it out. When they came here. Is it not going on now? So these are things that have stuck in my craw a bit about the lives of the people like me who came from Italy as migrants to Australia after the Second World War, but even before then. So there.
It would more than stick in your craw, it would be like a knife stuck to your heart.
You know.
I mean, I think I haven't experienced some of the things that you've heard.
Yep.
But I certainly experienced that racist bullying in schools here, especially in Catholic schools. I was amazed, even primary school at St George's in Carlton, when some of the boys, a group of them came up to me and said, for some reason, and I had nothing to do with them, so they made an association between Mussolino and Mussolini.
Yep.
I don't know how they would even know this. They said, we'd like to see you hanging by your feet upside down. And I thought, how do they know these things?
Oh, they've looked it up, haven't they?
And why would they bother looking at it?
Yeah, there's no Google in those days, so they must have heard it somewhere.
How could I possibly be of such interest to them?
Yeah.
You know, all I was ever interested in was keeping to myself, writing, reading, drawing, playing with my guitar. And then suddenly these people appear out of nowhere, like devils attacking you. You know, there's an attempt at possession. So that's what I experienced a lot of the time.
Yeah. Listen, do you want to talk about Wogs out of work?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on a minute.